All right, it's great to have back on the show Pennsylvania's very own Senator Dave McCormick. Senator, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Rich?
Doing well, my friend. It's great to see you and appreciate making the time today. Nice job on that video asking all the New Yorkers to come to Pennsylvania, inviting them to come, I should say.
Yeah, I got a lot of heat on that, a lot of attention. But the funny thing, all the New Yorkers, who gave me a hard time, none of them were defending the mayor. They were just saying the Jets weren't as hopeless as I was saying.
Yeah, you had a video in there, so a lot of Jets fans with paper bags on their head. That was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that's
The
right.
failing
That's
football
right.
teams. Uh,
Well, all kidding aside, though, I think it's indicative of something very scary, which is the radical left really coming into positions of power in what's one of the greatest cities in the world, advocating a set of socialist policies
yeah.
that have been tried. These things have been tried over and over again throughout Europe, throughout the world. They are in the dustbin of history, and yet these ideas keep resurrecting. On top of that, you have the anti-Semitism, the radical extremism in the streets that Mamdani associated himself with. So this is going to be a wild ride for New York, and we hope that cooler minds will prevail. But it's definitely a scary moment.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's a damn shame that a lot of young voters keep falling for this. And I blame that on our education system for not doing a better job of teaching them the fact that these ideas have been tried and they failed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I also think, listen, if you step back and you want the best for America, you want a strong Democratic Party. You want a
Yeah,
party that's not captured by the left, because it's like anything else. It makes the Republican Party better
sure.
for us to have to defend our ideas. This extremism, I think, is truly a risk to the country, and so I'm hoping, as I said, I'm hoping cooler minds prevail. In the meantime, we want to get those folks that want freedom and don't want to be unwelcomed for their religious views to come to Pennsylvania. There's lots of good stuff going on here.
Well, your friend and colleague, Senator John Fetterman, and you're both getting a lot of praise for your bipartisanship, especially during the shutdown. He said he's gotten more attacks on Blue Sky, which is the left Twitter, the left version of Twitter, and from the left than he has on the right, with death threats and everything else. I mean, that's a shame because here you have a guy who is trying to work with the president, work
Yeah.
with you, do what's best for the country, put country over party, and for that, his many people within his own party now are turning on him, and it's very
No,
likely
no,
he's going to face a primary challenge.
no doubt, Rich. And the thing about it is, if he and I went line by line on policies, we would disagree on more things than
Right.
we agree on. He is a progressive guy. He's a Democrat, but he's also independent minded, and he's willing to speak out for things he believes in, and he's an honest man. And so he and I have found a way to work together on things that we agree on, that are great for Pennsylvania. And when we disagree, we just we do so civilly and move on. And the attacks on him have been vicious. A
Yeah.
couple months ago, there was a concerted campaign, as you remember, to say that he was unequipped, unprepared, didn't have cognitive capabilities. It's just very nasty. And I texted him. I said, "Listen, this is vicious." I said, "I'd like to come out and defend you, but I don't want to hurt you. Do you think? Would you like me to come out and say something?" He said, "Yeah." So nobody else is. So I went out and made a strong statement, and other Republicans did too, and then some Democrats did. But it just shows you that there's an extreme element of this party that just won't accept an independent-minded man, even if he probably agrees with them on most things.
Yes, it's sad because I do agree with you. A strong Democrat Party is healthy for the country and for the Republican Party too. It makes Republicans better. It makes Republicans more conservative. It's just better all around. I want to ask you about veterans. You wrote an op-ed in the Pittsburgh Post Gazette about what our veterans need right now. Obviously, Veterans Day was the 11th. We're also celebrating the anniversary or remembering the anniversary of Gettysburg. What do our veterans need at this moment, Senator? And as a veteran, and thank you for your service in the 82nd Airborne, a combat veteran, I should mention.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Rich. So, I mean, it's a big day for me, because it's a time where you really remember those who have been willing to sacrifice their all to defend America, and so it's a day of gratitude, but it's also a day, as I tried to lay out in the op-ed, for action. And
Mhm.
here we are, 24 years after 2001, And in the time since then, we've lost 140,000 veterans to veteran suicide, an astronomical number. We lose 19 people a day today to veteran suicide. And more than half those folks haven't received any counseling, or even no one in the Veterans Affairs system even knew they had a problem. And so they die in silence without the kind of help they need. And this is a disgrace. You learn a lot about a country by how it treats the people who are willing to serve. So the op-ed basically says we need to do a couple things. We need to essentially get rid of this culture where people are afraid to express that they're vulnerable and in trouble from a mental health perspective. It runs a little bit against the kind of macho imagery we have of the military, but people need to express that they're having trouble, and we need to have a culture that encourages that. Second, we need leaders to be held accountable in the military and Congress, in the Defense Department and the VA, to make sure we solve this problem. It's unacceptable. And third, we need to be more imaginative. And I introduced legislation, two pieces. One that focuses on brain trauma centers, innovation centers that can hopefully get to the bottom of some of the new therapies. Second is a zero suicide initiative that will be rolled out across a number of the VA centers. And then finally, I'm very open to the idea of psychedelics used in a very contained way for our veterans as a potential path to dealing with this. But we listen, what we're doing is not working. The definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and failing. We are failing our veterans. And that's something I wanted to highlight on that day where we express our gratitude.
I'm glad you're open to this psychedelic idea, because they've really promising research in that area. We're doing more now, which is good, looking into the positive effects of that, and we weren't before. And if it helps, great. Anything to help them get over the PTSD and the trauma, and if that will be what works, then good. I'm happy to hear you're open-minded about it. I'm not surprised that you're open-minded about it. I'm just saying I'm happy to hear that. So
yeah. Yeah, support. The other thing that you mentioned, and I was there earlier this week, is Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, yesterday, was the 162nd anniversary of Lincoln's famous address, the Gettysburg Address, which is probably the purest, most beautiful 200 words ever expressed in American politics. And it's just a reminder. You walk those battlefields, Rich. I'm sure you've done it.
Oh yes.
50,000 people died, were injured, or missing in 3 days of battle. And you just see the sacrifice there and throughout American history that's necessary to keep America, to protect our freedoms, to create and protect everything that's dear. That's what Gettysburg reminds us of. So it's, as we think about the 250th anniversary next year, Pennsylvania is where it all started. So we think about the 250th, we got to keep reminding ourselves, what are those timeless and universal principles that has led America to be able to be the greatest country in the world? And we got to make sure we don't lose sight of those as we lead our way forward.
Senator McCormick, you'll be happy to know my parents brought my 10-year-old son Patrick to Gettysburg last year, and they had a great weekend with him, and he loved it. He absolutely was blown away by it. So I think next summer we're going to try to do a reenactment so that he can see that.
I love it. Yeah, we saw some reenactors up there. We just walked through Valley Forge the week before too, which is worth doing. It's
yes,
incredible, the sacrifice, incredible.
Yeah, we're blessed to have all that in our area, especially as we get ready for our 250th. All right, so from veterans and psychedelics to chocolate, which should also, by the way, help with trauma. I know whenever my wife's mad at me, dark chocolate seems to do the trick. So,
good. It's a big chocolate week, man, going into the holidays. So the president, we're a huge chocolate manufacturer. There's about 58,000 jobs in Pennsylvania that are either in the chocolate industry or associated with it. And we're a big producer. And the tariffs on cocoa were a huge problem because there's no way to source it in the United States. There's a little bit out west, but not much. And so that's the biggest product that goes into chocolate. And so the president released, I had talked to our trade team about this, been in contact and for a number of months, as many in that industry had been. And the president made a modification to the tariff policies to recognize that cocoa is going to need to be brought in from outside our Commonwealth borders and outside American borders. And so it was a big day for Hershey and the other chocolate manufacturers in Pennsylvania.
Well, we also take our kids to the Hershey Lodge every year around Christmas time, and it's also a great
It's
place to
just
be. So,
that's special, but I want to say, Rich, just as I really mean this. And Selena Zito had a great piece in the last day or two about Nippon Steel, which is another example. I think with President Trump, you've got this guy who's got a clear vision, business guy, knows where he wants to take things, isn't afraid to be bold, but he's also constantly listening and taking in new information,
good.
and he adjusts his position as he hears things that make sense to him, which is what he did on Nippon, is what he did on Coco. That is a sign of strength. That's a sign of confidence to have the vision to push the big ideas and also constantly evolve and make the necessary changes as new data comes in. And this is one example of that, which means a lot to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but you're a very humble guy, Senator McCormick, and I've always liked it about you. It's also because you have his ear. You have the ear of the president of the United States, and he listens to you and he respects you. That these things are happening that benefit our state, including, by the way, the 3 Mile Island. Which could you tell us about that too? Because I think that's a very big deal.
Yeah, listen, what's happening? I mean, we are going to see under this president. Thanks for that nice word. I think
Well, it's true.
I do have I do have a good relationship with the president. I think part of it is we campaigned together for, I think we did probably 14, 15 events together in Pennsylvania. And I was on the stage with him and just stepped down when he got shot in
Yep.
Butler. So we lived through that together, and he always comments on that. So I've got a lot of faith in him, and I think he's got faith in me. I think. I'm sorry.
Oh,
What was
Three
the
Mile
starting point?
Island,
Three Mile.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Which brings me to 3 Mile Island, which I think under this president you're going to see a renaissance in nuclear power. He's put an executive order in place. I sat down just earlier this week with the CEO of Constellation, Joe Dominguez. I mean, they are on fire. Pennsylvania has a huge installed base of nuclear, but what's happening is we have Westinghouse, which is the manufacturer of nuclear reactors. We just had a huge order from Japan. They came in for $80 billion worth of reactors at our Energy and Innovation Summit. Westinghouse announced they'll build 10 new reactors over the next 5 or 6 years. This is unbelievable.
Good.
The nuclear power is necessary to meet the incredible demands of energy. It's safe. It's environmentally friendly. It's great jobs for Pennsylvania. And 3 Mile Island, which I'm older than you, so I'm not sure if you remember it when you were a kid, but I remember that accident happening. And unfortunately, as a result of that accident at 3 Mile Island, nobody was killed or injured, but the new nuclear energy industry shut down, and it's taken 40 years to get it back to where it's opening back up. There's new technology, SMRs, which are these small reactors. It's going to be an enormously important part of America's energy future and the AI future, because you can't have AI innovation and AI leadership without energy dominance. So Pennsylvania is going to be the center of a lot of that, and the president's leading the charge. And 3 Mile Island, they're opening up a new reactor that's going to be essentially a source of energy for Microsoft. Kind of an unprecedented deal where Microsoft and Constellation came together. It's very exciting, and it's the beginning, I think, of a lot more innovation to come.
Senator Dave McCormick, thanks, my friend. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you,
Keep up
Rich.
the good
Thank you.
work. Thank you.